Sorry I'm late.
No worries. If you could please just talk to us about where the team's at and how excited they are about getting to play their first regular season game.
They are very excited. I have no idea where we're at. We are pretty good against each other. We're pretty good against our guys' practice team. We've been pretty good against a couple of Division IIs, but I don't really know where we're at yet. I don't think they do either. We're not settled in on a starting lineup. It's the first time in my career we've been this close to a tip-off and have had some very fun arguments in the office among coaches and position coaches. It's hard. We've got 10 players who are playing really well. So we're going to try to de-emphasize starting, which is hard to do in today's world when we have DJ Derrick spinning hits like he does when we come out and all the things that they do in a pregame. So hopefully everybody can understand the value of what roles are going to be, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to differentiate who the first five will be out there on Friday.
How much do you use the analytics in practice to determine your lineups versus the eye test and what you've done in the first couple of games?
I like it for informational purposes, but I don't use it. It's not an absolute rule. I like to have it. I like to know lineups. I certainly use it as a tool, but it's not the end-all, be-all. I don't just look at the piece of paper, and you've got to trust your experience and instincts and do the best you can to predict. You know, a couple of those kids that I'm talking about that I think have, quote, earned starters minutes have never played an SEC game yet. So you got to factor that stuff in there. You got to, or a Division I game even. So you factor some of that stuff in there. You want to get off to a great start. It's going to be such a cool environment. As I watched teams yesterday, especially on TV, the ones I got to see on TV, some teams got off to really slow starts, and I don't want us to do that. So hopefully we'll have 10 kids ready to go and 13 total ready to play and contribute, and we'll see what happens. But I don't use the analytics as the end-all, be-all, but I do use it as a tool. I can hear you.
Sorry, Mike. Coach, Malcolm Monk, how do you really explain how she's so good at finding that fine line between being such a quick player yet not committing a lot of mistakes?
Out of control. Well, she stays within herself. You know, she doesn't try to do things she can't do. She sticks with what she knows she's good at, and she stays really good at those things. She's got a move and a counter move, and if you don't go for her fake, she's past you. I think her confidence levels continue to increase. I think she knows she's got not only our confidence, but her teammates' confidence. And when she gets going like that, I think she makes great decisions. I think she has more weapons this year on the perimeter to throw it to. So the driving angles are going to be even more wide open because people aren't going to come very far off Alexis Toll-Free. They're not going to come very far off Chelsea. And the way Bailey's shooting it right now, they're probably not going to come off her either. So the drives will be there. I thought Matt was really dedicated this summer. She was in North Little Rock's gym almost every day. I'd get a call from Coach Fimple down there. You know, I've never seen Mal during the summer in the gym like she was this summer. So I think now that she finally gets to be a senior, you know, she was a freshman last year. I don't care what her academic record said. She was still a freshman because she was new. She didn't know what I meant and what I needed from her until middle of the year. So I think she gets to be a senior. I think she's confident. And I think she's earned everybody's respect, not only on our team, but within the conference. To be named in the preseason when you can only pick 16 kids out of this league, for the other coaches to pick her out as one of those 16 players, I thought that was a small reward for a lot of hard work for a kid.
I know that you don't typically focus a lot on the other team, especially this early in the season, but what is it about Northwestern State that you do see as strengths and or weaknesses?
Well, I think Jordan's got them playing really hard, and anytime you see a team play hard, that can create problems. They've got some new faces too. I think they'll be in kind of a C mode, how some of these kids can do. But again, you look at what happened yesterday on men's side and on the women's side. Teams that come in on the road, there were lots of road upsets, and I think you're going to see that happen throughout the year. We know they're going to be prepared. We know they're going to be well coached because we know Jordan. We know him from the past, and part of the reason we brought him in here was so that we could be tested to start right off the bat.
interesting atmosphere with elementary day. Could you just talk about maybe your experience from last year and what you're looking forward to this year?
Yeah, just if anybody wants to experience what it's like, go to your car and turn the radio station up on static for about 30 minutes of your drive home today, as loud as it'll go, and for about 3 hours. It's just this steady hum of noise from the time the first bus shows up until the buzzer goes off. The kids are so excited to be here. I get it. Part of it's to be out of school on a Friday. I understand that. I understand part of it's probably the Pepsi and the cotton candy, all the stuff that they'll be hyped up on. But it is an incredible atmosphere for our kids, and they look forward to it. 10:30 is an awkward start time. You don't usually play those, but I think you balance that with the energy and the buzz that's going on. Just the excitement, when you start seeing those buses roll in. I think we have 50, did I hear right, 52 schools? Is that right? May have to check that. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard 52 buses. That's what I heard. I'm not sure how many schools, but 52 busfuls of kids. So it just turn that static up in between a AM station and crank it as loud as you can and listen to it for about 3 hours. That's what it's going to be like. So fun. They'll cheer for everything.
Because you have more players competing for starting opportunities or playing minutes, how do you navigate making sure that you're getting players on the court that need to play and balance all of that?
I don't know. It's going to take my staff a lot of help. I'm going to need a lot of help with that. It's not something I have historically done. I've never worked for a coach who played a lot of substitutions like we've been doing 5 for 5. I've never had this. I've certainly never done it as a head coach. We'll have to pay particular attention to it, make sure that we're balancing practice time and game time as well to make sure everybody's sharp. I do know this. I do know that the games will kind of work some of that self out. The game themselves will determine who's better at starting and who's better coming in off the bench, who maybe can come in there not having just warmed up and make a shot, who's better at starting and then taking a break and coming back in. We'll find rotations. I think we've got to find a way to get Mal and IT on the floor together at times. We've got to find a way to play Bailey and Chelsea at times. And that's just going to come through making sure we do it. Coach Todd, like I said, his office looks like the beautiful minds going on over there. If y'all seen that movie with algorithms written all over the walls and he's writing stuff up. We're trying to use every data point that we can to make sure we've got our best lineups out there for the most minutes. I'm not sure we're going to get it right off the bat, but we'll keep working at it till we do. But I think it's a great problem to have. It's to have that many kids competing and then that many kids having a good attitude. And they really, really just want to help the team. There's nobody selfish about it. But I do understand that playing time is what kids look at. I would be naive and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't help them understand their roles and how those minutes were going to impact and be helpful for our team.
Last thing for me. So last year, players could shoot, and it wasn't necessarily going to come out of the game if they were missing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not making shots, is there more pressure because there's somebody else that might be able to come in the game and knock down a few?
I don't know. You'll have to ask one of them that. Probably. I think they all know that if they're doing what they're supposed to do and what they're capable of doing, I still want them to have the green light. We've got 7 kids who have earned the green light right now. That's a bunch. I've never had that many kids this deep into the year shooting over 50% in practice, but we've got 7 kids doing it. We've got an 8th, but she can't play tomorrow night or Friday night. So I'm going to still let them shoot it. I want them to shoot it with confidence. I do know that if they have an 0 for 12 night, we don't have to have that this year. We'll stop them. We won't let them have an 0 for 12 night. It'll be 0 for 7. They won't get shots 8, 9, and 10. So I think it's created extra time in the gym. I think it's created a healthy competitive environment. It's risen the level of every single player in the gym, I think, knowing that if you're not in the gym, somebody else probably is when it comes drill time, and then see if it can translate to the game time. So, I know there's always slippage. There's going to be a slippage from practice to game percentages. But even if it's a 20% slippage, we're going to be ahead of where we were at this time last year.
Coach, obviously you mentioned heart, effort, kind of going back to, that competition for minutes, but, heart and effort when it comes to rebounding. And I know you're just looking at this week, but I
Yep.
know in the back of your mind, maybe there's that spot where you're like, there were some matchups last year in SEC play where we just
Didn't
we're
match
not
up
as
physically.
physical. And
Yeah.
this time around, maybe in practice when you go in, what's that competition been like in terms of maybe rebounding drills?
They're going more often. They're going harder. We got a good guys practice team that forces us to go hard. We still can't simulate Tierra McGowan and Anriel Howard and guys like that. You can't simulate that. But I think the fact that we're playing faster, everybody says, how are you going to get better at rebounding? I said, we're going to play faster on offense. And I kind of usually get a little, that's not the question I ask, but it really is. If we play as fast as we're capable of playing offensively, other teams usually start to send one more player back. If you watch them, everybody we've played just start sending at least 3, sometimes 4 back. So if we can play incredibly fast, we'll help ourselves rebounding. And then we get 5 going at it. Alexis Tolfrey's a good rebounder. She's not 6'7", but she goes after them and she's active. And we try to turn a lot of those things into speed rebounds. So we're not going to get much taller. Kiera's a better rebounder. Taylor's a better rebounder. Macy's a better rebounder. Chelsea gives us a toughness. And IT gives us toughness on defensive rebounding. And we've tried to encourage her and Mal both to pick up between 5 and 7 defensive rebounds a game that they can turn into transition the other way. So hopefully continuing to emphasize it. Like I said, we're not going to jump much faster or much higher or run much faster, but I do think we can try harder.
Anything else?
Not for me. All right.